I love to talk about tech, and today I wanted to talk about the tech behind my YouTube filming setup. Now, I've been using the same camera body now for 3 years, and it's a 4.5-year-old camera body, meaning you don't really need to get the newest camera to take amazing video. What I have spent a lot of money on is lenses. I want to talk about lenses and all of this kind of gear that I use to create YouTube videos with you guys in today's video. Hey guys, my name is Mitchell. I'm fluent in tech, so you don't need to be. And if you guys want to go ahead and connect with me, ask me questions, Discord or Twitter is the best place, and you guys know where to find links for that. At the heart of today's rig is the Sony A6500. It was the first APS-C camera from Sony with a fantastic kind of autofocus system. And this camera for me has been absolutely phenomenal in regards to just being really versatile. It's a great stills photography camera. It does great looking 4K video, although with quite a bit of rolling shutter. The problem is that Sony hasn't updated the sensor that they've used in this camera for a while. So I haven't had a reason to necessarily upgrade my camera body. The first accessory that we have on this camera is a cage, and this cage is built by smallrig. It just allows me to mount more stuff to the camera, including this special connector that actually protects the HDMI as well as the audio jack from having the cables pulled in and out of them, or I should say pulled out of them. This little piece right here is an awesome piece if you're gonna be rigging your camera up like I am. Now, as you guys can see, I have it connected, of course, to a monitor, and the monitor that I use is the FeelWorld F6 Plus. It's a 500 nit HDMI monitor, which basically allows me to look at myself while filming. Now, this actually accepts USB-C in, and I have all of my camera gear for this kind of YouTube setup running off of USB battery banks. I also have a SD card in here that allows me to see what the footage will look like when it's on my computer with a LUT applied to it already. I would say that for YouTube, you don't necessarily need to have a cage for it, but a camera with a flippy screen so that you can monitor yourself is definitely needed. Now, the next thing I have are a couple of these Magic friction arms. Now, these Magic friction arms, I have them attached to my tripod. You could attach them directly to the camera cage if you wanted to. But on this friction arm, I have a Rode Video Mic Go, a Rode Video Mic Mini, I have a Rode Video Mic Mini on one of these friction arms. It's just a shotgun microphone that's good enough really for getting audio for YouTube. I have a Video Mic Pro that will be getting repaired. Now on the bottom, I have a smallrig battery holder, and I'll give you guys a close up to it. But in that smallrig battery holder, I have a 20,000 milliamp Anker battery pack. This is one of the old Anker battery packs from like 5 or 6 years ago. I keep the battery at around 50% to increase battery longevity, and it's been holding up fine. And that powers my camera as well as the monitor, because powering my camera, I have a USB dummy battery. This just means that I can use USB battery banks to keep all this stuff going. It's less expensive than using V-mount or DC in for this, and it just gives me one connector. So if I need to go on a mobile video shoot, I can just take USB battery banks, USB power, and worry about one type of electricity or one source of power, which is great. All of this is mounted on a Zpun Micro 2 slider, and I did a video review of this slider. I've basically been using it every day now for 2.5 years, and it makes my job on YouTube of getting smooth B-roll shots so much easier. That is all connected to a Benro S4 video head. This is the video head that I actually use for my monopod, but I have it mounted here for my studio set. It just lets me get kind of smooth, panny shots. Now, what you guys have all been waiting for, which is lenses. We've talked a little bit about lenses before, but lenses are really the most important part of your camera system. And it's something I wish that smartphone companies focus a little bit more attention on when making like our smartphone cameras, is having high quality lenses or lenses that are in a lot of light. The first lens I have in this kind of collection of lenses is the Sigma 16mm f1.4. That's the wide angle lens that gets a really shallow depth of field that I do a lot of my talking head pieces on. This lens for YouTube in a YouTube setup like this, in my opinion, is definitely a must-have. The next lens on the list is the Sigma 56mm f1.4. This is what's considered a portrait lens, but this is a great lens if you want to get some product videography or even product photography done in a bigger space, but you want to focus in really on that project, or if you just like taking portraits of people, this lens has a great look. It's really compact. One of the most kind of versatile, most used lenses here on YouTube among all video content creators, especially ones using a Sony A6000, A6100, A6300, A6400, A6500, or A6600, and that would be the Sigma 30mm f1.4. It's got a nice close focusing distance, so you can get those macro kind of looking shots, close-up stuff of a product. It's still wide enough that I can put it on my camera to do some A-roll of me talking to the camera without it being too limiting on space. Optically, it's not the best, but it was Sigma's first lens for the APS-C Sony mount, and it's really, really good. We have this ultra-wide lens. I don't use this lens very much at all for YouTube. I use this a lot more for video production. It's still in my camera bag, or in my Pelican case, I should say, of gear that I use, and that's the Samyang 12mm f2. They've come out with a newer version of this that has autofocus, but for something this wide, manual focus, totally okay. f2, this is my slowest lens, but because it's an ultra wide angle, you can get those slower shutter speeds without having to necessarily worry about blur in your photos. This lens is cheap, it's well made, optically it's totally fine. I wish that I could go outside and use this more to share photos with you guys. The Sony 85mm f1.8 on APS-C, this is close to 127mm with like a full frame field of view of like an f2.4. Super small lens, autofocus is really fast. It's got a great look to it. And I love this lens on the APS-C mount because it replicates having a much bigger low f-stop full frame lens while still giving you like great optical performance, reasonable price. All of my lenses, as you can see, are vinyl wrapped, or they're 3M skinned, I guess you would say. This is a faux leather one, and I think it just goes with the 85mm look really well. We have two lenses, don't really need to talk about them very much. This is the Sony Kit Lens. I use this if I'm going on vacation and I don't want to carry all of these prime lenses. And then this is the 7 Artisans, or here in Vietnam, it's China private labeled as Discover. It's a 25mm f1.8. Optically, this lens isn't great. It's super, super, super soft, but it's really good at close focusing, and it kind of replaces a macro lens for me for giving close-up product photography photos, or if I sometimes just want to manually focus. I love tech, and I love camera gear, and I especially love the tech inside of camera gear. If you guys like that stuff too, go ahead and let me know in the comment section down below. If you want to see more videos, make sure you hit the thumbs up button and subscribe. And until next time, guys, it's been Mitchell. Peace.